Howdy, Laoshi Lawrence McElroy here for Water Tiger School, Taiji Chuan. Back in the Qigong rotation in our releases, I guess I can say. So we're going to get a little bit into diversity in Qigong as this video unfolds. But first, and sort of speaking of diversity, I have the t-shirt this time. This is the 2013 World Tai Chi Day, World Tai Chi and Qigong Day t-shirt. And second time I've worn this since we started shooting these things in March of 2020. It was last worn in October of 2020 during the Water Tiger for Sachem Facebook Live series. It was a Qigong focus that day too, and it was from the 5 animal frolics, from crane frolics, crane walking on one leg. So there you go. It is April of 2024 as we're shooting this. So that means we're just a few weeks away from the end of April. April 27th is the last Saturday of the month, and that's the date that the powers that be with World Tai Chi and Tai... wow, I can't say the name of the event for some reason today. World Tai Chi and Qigong Day, the powers that be choose for that for the event every year. So it's all about diversity because every event across the globe, and those numbers of events are countless across 6 of the 7 continents. We just can't seem to get Antarctica involved, apparently. And numerous countries, and numerous cities. People are doing Tai Chi and Qigong at the same time. 10 a.m. in each time zone. Our event also embraces diversity, maybe even more than others. Because we invite facilitators, instructors from different lineages from around the area. We're centered on Long Island, so many of them are from Long Island, but we've had people from the city, people from the tri-state area come and facilitate for us as well. And it's a morning of free workshops. We actually do a demonstration during the event. All of the facilitators do a demonstration at the same time, all doing things from their lineage. So though 2 people might do the same form, 2 yoga stylists might both be doing their 24 posture form during the facilitator demonstration, there are times it's going to look exactly the same and times that it's going to look different. We embrace the idea that diversity does not weaken us. It doesn't lessen the gene pool. Diversity makes us stronger. As a matter of fact, we're doing a different approach to the standing 8 pieces of brocade than our lineage's approach to this standing 8 piece of brocade. And somebody said the other night that they really enjoyed the exploration of the differences, that they were pleased that we don't embrace the idea, no, there's only one way to do this and every other way is wrong. Just that we really feel that when you compare yourself with others through experience, you get a sense of why they do things their way, how there are similarities even within the differences. It might strengthen your commitment to your approach, or it might make you consider, do I need to make little tweaks to what it is that I'm doing? So I'm sort of what we do and a little bit of what they do. So anyway, that's the idea. We'll get a little bit more into that after we finish the warm-up. The warm-up today will be another piece from the first set of Shibashi. As we've been saying in recent videos when we've been introducing some pieces from that first set, the actual pronunciation is probably closer to Shibashi, but most people out there in the world that we've experienced all use the pronunciation Shibashi. And that's, you know, English, in the way that it's spelled in English, that's kind of what it looks like. So anyway, so we're going to stick with that. It's the 11th movement from the 18 movements first set. For us, it's becoming one with the sea and the sky. For others, it might be scooping from the sea, touching the sky, or touching the sea and looking at the sky. All sorts of different names, all sorts of different ways of doing these as well. Different aspects of breath pattern. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but we all do this stuff differently. So anyway, crunch my mint, maybe get another drink. I'm a little dry. I've actually been talking for a while. We were about a third of the way through shooting this, and the equipment crashed. So I'll probably have a little bit of what's known as matinee syndrome. I come from the theater, and matinee syndrome is when you do a show in the afternoon, a show in the evening, and all of a sudden you're standing on stage and you think you know your line, but you're really sure that you've said it before because you did earlier in the day. So that's matinee syndrome. But anyway, so becoming one with the sea in the sky. Lower body's pretty easy. Oh, and by the way, I always like to also touch base on the origin of this. The Shibashi sets were created starting in about 1979 from Professor Lin Hao Sheng, actually, I think. And over from 1979 to 1990, apparently 6 sets were created. The first 3 are the most popular. The most popular of the most popular first 3 sets. So anyway, there you go. It's, practice as a whole. It's really good just for all around good health and well-being. They're actually quite pleasurable to do because there's a nice flow to them. They're usually referred to as Taiji Qigong, though it's sort of a different approach, a different lineage of Taiji Qigong than what you normally see from Water Tiger. So there you go. Lower body in this is pretty easy. Notice I'm stepping out, right? Not right straight toward you. Back foot is just sort of where the back foot is. Step out more or less at a 45. And I'm going to fill that leg and sort of lean into it, seeking not to collapse the spine. And then as I come up, I'm going to round the back, arch the back, and look up toward the ceiling or the sky. So it's down and up. When I'm down in front, the back heel doesn't come up off the ground. It stays grounded. When I come up, the ball of the front foot does come up off the ground. That's the lower body. The upper body, now people will do different things with their hands. They'll have the hands right side by side, pinkies kissing. They'll have the hands partially separated. Or they'll be like us and stack them. Now, if you stack your hands, you can feel free, if you do the stacking, to just go to your default setting. If I just bring my hands together, that's going to be my default setting, is my right hand's going to be on top. That is just what goes there. It's like when you do this, right? My default setting is the right pinky is the last one, so I finish with the left thumb on top of the right. This is different, and it probably feels different. And you may have just tried to do that with me and went, what? Or did this and went, who's holding my hand? Right? It's like this. Right? So, but what we do, whole point of this, what I like to do is switch. So one rep will have the right hand on top. Next rep will have the left hand. And if you choose, like us, to switch the stack, don't worry if you miss one and do 2 in a row with the right hand or 2 in a row with the left hand on top. I guarantee you your head won't explode. At least it won't explode for that reason. So I'm going to go to the left first. We're going to do a number of repetitions. We like an exhale on the scoop and inhale in the opening. And notice when I'm open, don't have goalposts. They're open, rounded. If I face the camera, it looks like this. Boom. Boom. So a little time with becoming one with the sea in the sky. I'm going to inhale first and then exhale and inhale. There's 1. Here's 2. Here's 3. Here's 4. 5. 6. Let's do 6 more. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And the transition is really easy. 1. So as I'm at this position, I'm going to come up, I'm going to short change the arc, bring the foot in, step the other foot out, go into my next exhale. 1. Don't try to match sides. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. And at 12, I'm going to come in and down. Now, Shibashi has its own closing, but we're going to do the Water Tiger School standard and settle the weight into the right leg as the hands float up, out, away from the body. As they roll in, like on top of a beach ball filled with helium, it brings that foot in, the left foot in. Down, presses the heel down. Redivides the weight equally between the 2 feet. And a little rebound. And there you go. There's your warm-up from Shibashi. So, regardless of how you might do yourself, if you've ever experienced the standing 8-piece of brocade, draw the bow. Draw the bow is very good for liver, heart, and lung health and functionality. It's also important to notice, or to take notice, that the eye, the vision, and liver functionality are actually tied together. So it's really important for you to look at the target in the distance. Everybody sort of does that differently. Not really looking at the target, but the way that they shoot the bow is very, very different. The name of ours, when we get to that piece, and for us it's the second piece of brocade. There are also different orders. Most people that we ran across in our research, draw the bow is either the second or the third piece of brocade in their particular approach. Some of them have holds. We hold ours. Another one in the demonstration set is a hold. Most of them flow. And there are different hand positions involved. So that's sort of all the differences in different depths of stances, that sort of thing. So those are some of the things that we're going to address. Our lineage is tied back down to Marshal Yufei. And we have what we refer to as the poetry of the set, or sort of the basic instructions. And those go, it's sort of poetic, esoteric. Left, right. Draw the bow to shoot the hawk. 2 arms strong and firm to strengthen kidneys and waist. Bend the elbow horizontal. Yi, pulling hard. Hand, arm, aims. Hand, arrow, aims, sorry. I should have just read this instead of tried to pretend that I needed the cue card. Hand, arrow, aims. Eyes focus. Left, right, shoot. Stand in riding the horse for efficiency. So anyway, with my little stumble there, I always do that. I always hand arm, but it's hand arrow points. And that's very much for us. We have a very pointy arrow. And most people don't really have a pointy arrow. So there you go. That's our original, the poetry, if you will. Obviously, it's never something that I've committed to my memory. But anyway, ours, we have a wide stance. So always protect your knees. All of these various positions, never squat in a position causes them to kip forward. So you always want to make sure that you're sitting in a position where the shoulders are going to stay over the hips, not over the ground. For us, you need to know 3 hand positions. One is pretty simple, prayer hands. It's just base of the palm together, pads of the 5 of the 1 together, 10 of the 2, I guess you should say, together. And that's going to be in 2 positions, down and up. Second hand position is the point of the arrow. It's secret sword hand. So the index and the middle finger are together. There's an opening with the thumb touching the ring finger and the pinky. And that's the point of the arrow. It is not secret scissors hand. It's secret sword hand. The other hand that holds the arrow for us is crane's beak. You may know it from single whip. You may know it from if you do our swimming octopus hand exercise, right? This palm will be back. It's not thumb side of the hand down. Definitely not some thumb side of the hand out or up, but back towards you. Now, unlike all the others that we're going to sort of demonstrate, and the first 2, very familiar with. The first one that's been in my lineage, I've been doing it for, 3 decades and beyond. The other one, not quite as long, but I'm awfully familiar with it. The others, we found them in research. We put together the demonstrations as best we could. So I ask your forgiveness if they are a little bit squishy. But ours, we know. Ours is the only one that has a straight relationship between the point of the arrow and the nock of the arrow. So both hands are going to end up in the front plane of the body. And if I get just right with the camera, pointing at the camera just right, you'll notice the back hand disappears behind the front hand. They're not in different positions. So I want that connection between the 2 as you pull. We'll do a series, couple pair, maybe 3 pair for hours. And then we'll just determine with the rest of them as we go, maybe how many repetitions we do. Breathe when you have to with hours. There is a hold. Also keep in mind, all of these, the arrow is always in some way parallel to the earth. If you're really looking at a target in the distance and shooting an arrow, you'd have to have the arrow angled up. Yeah, we don't do that. Apparently, none of us do. So, taking a broader stance, knees and toes should track the same direction. So if you're more open in the quad, the toes are out, that's where the knees should go. You don't want the toes out and the knees forward. You don't want the toes forward and the knees out. So choose what works for you and choose a depth that you can do. And if you make a mistake and you're too low on the first rep, then next time be higher. In a distance from the earth, not a kind of thing. So upside down prayer hands to start. I think I hit all the points. Again, breathe when you have to. Now, the sync is going to be timed with the hands coming up. So as I get into a position, my hand should be up. As I turn, sort of how I keep the hands on the same plane and the hands even is I slide the hands this way so the middle fingers are aligned, form the secret sword hand. As I press the bow out, feel that isometric pressing of the bow, the pulling back. and looking at that target in the distance. And it's an isometric press and an isometric pull. Actually, throughout all of these, you should feel that press out, almost push-up energy on the extended arm, almost pull-up energy in the pulling arm. And then when we release, the hands gently let go of their special positions. And as I turn to face the front, I come up out of the squat, the hands go down, and ideally all three things hit at the same time. I turn my head to look at you guys. Well, to look at the camera, not really you guys. So my nose got a little ahead of the rest of my body. Here's the first pull to the second side. And note my turning my head, I'm seeking to have it timed to the extension of the arms. Feeling that press out, that pull back. Ride horse for efficiency. Looking at that target in the distance. With no emotional attachment, by the way. Release and rise. So, if putting the image of a hawk, if you will, in your sights causes you any sort of distress, don't do it. Just a nondescript target. So for instance, I can't put the face of the guy who was driving the car, who not only was breaking a law at the time, running a red light, driving the wrong way on a street, almost hitting me head on. I can't put his face there as my target because I have an emotional attachment to it. And we know from this set, not this particular exercise, that the 7 strong emotions can cause disturbance in our health and well-being. The 7 strong emotions are happiness and anger, joy and sorrow, love and hate, and desire. Release. And rise. That was 2 per side. I think that's probably good. Let the hands release. Left on the left, right on the right. Shuffle the feet in. So closing is a little bit easier. And there's Water Tiger's basic traditional approach to draw the bow to shoot the hawk, or draw the bow to shoot the hawk, or simply draw the bow. I think I just repeated one twice. Second, I wouldn't say entirely different. The knock hand is just a closed fist. The sword point hand, palm out like you're saying stop. Song cue. And again, here, it's in the plane of my body, not even with my pulling hand. Goes relatively quickly, so I'll probably do, shall we say, more than 2 pairs of repetitions. And the flow is consistent. There aren't little holds. It's not as broad, nowhere near as deep. So, this is my shoulder width, where the drop of the shoulder is splits the foot in half, where the drop of the shoulder is splits the foot in half. Actually, now I'm at shoulder wide. But I am going to step a little bit outside of that. So it's like if this is my shoulder wide, just sort of putting the inside of my foot where the outside of my foot was, if that made sense. So if I had a footprint here, right, that's the outside of my foot. That's where I'm putting my feet. So the beginning position is here. It's an inhalation to get into that position, then inhalation is up. And exhalation, I'm going to turn, I'm going to pull, I'm going to put the hand up. And then an inhalation, rising. And even though it's a short rise, I'm still seeking to have the movement, upper body and lower body, consistent. Exhale out, inhale. And again, I want to feel the pull, I want to feel the press, I want to look in the distance. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. That was 2 pair, here's 3. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. This is the first half of 5. 6, or second half of 5. First half of 6. Second half of 6. And come back to this position. Bring the foot in, down, and close. And by the way, that approach is just called draw the bow, and it is the 3rd piece of brocade for that particular approach. So the next has a different hand position for the arrow. The pull is still the closed fist, and sort of, like the original language, bend the elbow horizontal. Ours is down a little bit. I forgot to point that out. We're not exactly here. It's angled down when we pull the nock of the arrow. Most of the rest of them are in this position or something a little bit different. For this approach, the nock of the arrow is, no, I'm not saying you're all losers. But notice here, there's a full closing of the remaining 3 fingers, with the thumb and the index finger forming that L. And the high position, is this. So it's almost what I was just doing with the hands in front of the face, but lightly closed fists and together. Reminds me of something from Saturday morning cartoons. Was that, I didn't look it up. Should have Googled it. So this is another wide. It's another low position, but again, shoulders are going to stay over the hips. Breathe when you have to, but there is a suggested breath pattern here, and the hold isn't very long. So I'm going to start up with an inhale. I'm going to sit down, exhale, and draw out. And inhale. And exhale. Again, looking in the distance. And inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Let's do one more pair. And inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. And inhale, up, step in, Arms go down. Come up. Left first underneath. Right. Follow. And then, because we're just us, we're not going on in the set. A little quick closing. There's 3. And by the way, that was drawing the bow and letting the arrow fly, or draw a bow to shoot the golden eagle. The next is posing as an archer to shoot the arrow, left, right. This one was new to me, as far as those first 3, all grounded. Us, we choose our position, we stay in it, we go down, we come up. Right? The second one, closer together, down and up. Third one, back to farther apart, down and up. This has a step from side to side. 2 different hand positions. Now the arrow hand still has the L. I'm still not calling you losers. But the fingers are just folded to the base of the fingers. The remaining 3 fingers, the middle of the ring and the pinky, folded to the base of themselves. And the other 2 form the L. The thumb and the index finger form the L. The drawing hand is not a fully closed fist. That's the drawing hand. So this was in parts, and it's a step from side to side. I'm going to get another drink. And this is our 4th version of draw a bow, or drawing bow, or draw the bow to shoot the hawk, or point the arrow, or in this case, posing as an archer to shoot both, and shooting both left and right. I think I got that name right. So I'm going to start basic stance. I am going to cross and step out and draw. And from that draw and that hold, I'm going to turn and look at this hand as it opens up. I'm going to step the left foot in. I'm going to bring the hands down. I'm going to cross and step to the right and draw. Pose as an archer and shooting left and right. And again, let that go. Open up to that side. Step in right. Arms down. Cross. And I'm not switching the cross here. By choice, you could. Draw. Open up by looking in that direction. Notice both hand palms are down. Bring that foot in, down. As I look forward, step out. Draw. If you're like me, you're going to start forming a full fist and then remember, oh yeah, it's this, not this. Notice I'm looking at that hand as it opens up, coming in, drawing down. Let's do one more to each side. Cross, draw, to shoot, open up, step up, look forward, hands down. I'll switch the cross. Cross, draw and shoot. Open up, come in. No cross, left foot in. That was number 4. Number 5, yeah, it's different. It's another one that steps from side to side. This, the draw hand goes back to the fist. However, even though my arrow hand is going to be out here, my draw hand at the separation has a cross. There's a cross. Is going to be at its hip on its side. The arrow hand, 4 fingers together, thumb open. 4 fingers together, thumb open. And it has a process as well, hand position wise. So I'm going to roll my hands, almost sort of like I'm making an offering. And that's how I step out. And I'm going to sink into my cross. And then I'm going to pull to shoot. And from there, I'm going to come in. Notice arms are rounded here, palms are down. That brings me up. The arms float down, roll around to step out, squat, and shoot and look at the target in the distance. Palms down, forming that rounded palm down position. Step in, pressing down, rolling to step out, squatting, draw and shoot. Forward, up, down, roll to step out, cross to sink, pull to the hip. It was kind of a reminder to me. Turn forward, bring the foot in, down. Let's do one more each side. Roll to step out, cross to sink, draw. Turn forward, arms in front, sink down, roll to step out, sink down to cross. Last one, second side. Front, in, down. And then just for us, our standard closing. That, like the previous one, which I didn't think I mentioned, draw the bow is the second of the standing 8-piece of brocade in their sequencing. And in this one, it isn't named. So I'm supposing, as is true with some people, they don't bother naming them. It's like, this is the first piece of brocade, this is the second piece of brocade, this is the third piece of brocade, etc. I did my best to confirm that, but I couldn't find the data. So that brings us to our last one. This one's a bear. So I am challenged by this one. I may have mentioned at some point over the last 4 years, oh God, I've been doing this for 4 years, that I have 3 of my lumbar vertebrae fused together in one big chunk. And it does limit how much I can twist the torso. I do pretty good for somebody who broke his back almost 40 years ago. Holy crap. But anyway, this is going to be kind of ugly, but it's kind of cool. So we're back to this. The pull is the fist. However, it's not down like us. It's not even with the ground. It's not bend elbow horizontal. It's elbow angled upward. So if you have some shoulder impingement, make it a different choice. it's the most interesting and most difficult transition, and I think really kind of the prettiest if you do it well, of any of these. But again, it's tough. There is a long hold. I'm probably not going to hold it as long as it is designed to be. And we'll probably just keep this at 1 rep per side. Because I am going to hold it for a while. I don't have a timer out. You guys don't want to, yeah, they don't want to time it either. Like there are other people here. So I'm going to step to the left, but to step to the left, I'm actually going to look to the right. You need to know this position for the transition. That's the transition. You twist. You form the arrow hand. You form the fist. So this is formed first, then the fist is formed. Then you move into the position. So that's, and after you move into the position, that's the release, turn, twisting to the other side. I don't know if that was clear or not. So good luck with this one. Wish me luck as well. So I'm going to turn and look to the right while I step out to the left. My left hand, palm forward, thumb down. My right hand, palm back. Palm forward, thumb up. And let me do that again. I'm going to look to the right. I'm going to step to the left. That's going to be my in position, not the other thing that I just did. So both palms are forward. I'm going to twist the torso. I'm going to wave across. I'm going to form the sword, the arrow point hand, the L, with the fingers just to the base of the knuckles. And squeeze my fist. I'm going to pull across. And I'm going to hold. This hand is in the plane of the body. This is in the front plane. My elbow is as up as it's going to go. I could tilt. Breathing. I'm going to release. Both palms forward. Right palm, thumb down. Left palm, thumb up. Sweep across. Form the L. The fingers to the knuckle. Squeeze the fist. I'm going to punch. Elbow up-ish. I'm going to hold and breathe. Breathe and hold. Looking at that target in the distance. Releasing this one. Both hands palm down. Left hand's going to come in slightly. Right hand's going to angle. The end palm above palm. They go down. Up. Palms angled down, but in front of the body. And in this position, and bring the left foot back in. Both hands down. And then our standard closing. And a little rebound. That was version 4. It's the second posture in that approach. Our second piece of brocade in that last approach is called drawing the bow. And as you can tell, it's tough to hold that for a while. 25, 30 second hold should be on each side. There you go, 6 different approaches. Ours was first secret sword hand, crane's beak, prayer hands, side to side, and that relationship between the front and the back, which isn't unique out there in the world, but with the ones that we chose, the only one that has that approach. I have different things from closed fist with the L to half closed fist with the L. Again, you have crane's beak for pulling, you have a fist for pulling, you have the fist or knuckle fist pulling, most in the front plane of the body, one down there. Lots of differences. Each have different feelings. Explore those feelings. Feel what you feel. Explore. And it's just interesting to play with all these differences and feel. I like some aspects of the different transitions. Ours isn't all that flowery, I guess, but it's a nice transition. It's smooth. I imagine with practice, the transitions in the other ones, in the stepping ones from side to side, would become smoother than I just demonstrated, but I'm not really accustomed to them. So I'd ask you to take that into consideration. You know, oh well, that's a pretty clunky transition. I wouldn't do I wouldn't use that approach. It's like, well, keep in mind, it's not mine. So I wasn't as smooth as people who, that's the way they practice the standing 8 piece of brocade. But I just wanted to give you a shot at that diversity. This will probably be a series moving forward where we take some comparisons, maybe sticking with the standing 8, but we'll see. Should be back possibly in 3 weeks, but 3 weeks, that'll be the week after, I think, World Tai Chi and Qigong Day on the 27th. And that might be a week of recuperation for Laoshi Lawrence McElroy, because I am the one organizing it. And it takes some organizing. So there you go. I hope you found this interesting, challenging, maybe in some aspects, if you participated. And there you go. Diversity in Qigong. As always, we've more or less found out that saying that we want to preview comments doesn't get us anywhere with YouTube. So I just ask you to, constructive criticism, always welcome. And by the way, if you'll notice, this ain't a studio, right? I'm not in costume. It's a clip-on mic, not really professional. I reference the crew that I don't have every once in a while. I have cue cards that are, taped here, there, and yonder. We just do this because we started doing this during home lockdown. And we've kept at it because people keep subscribing. Not trying to build a following, not trying to go viral. This is just something that we're doing. So throw together the video ourselves, hardly any editing. Don't add, in screens or professional looking thumbnails, because that's just us. We're just doing this and hoping that it helps some people. So there was my second soapbox moment. And there you go. So anyway, we will post a link to this on our Facebook page. There, we're a little less forgiving if we get flamed. Again, if you didn't like it, say so and say why and how we can do better. Yeah, just don't be rude. We have left one rude comment up, but in an earlier video. But this is what we do. We want to help people, lead people through, and find understanding in what it is we seek to do with these arts. So thanks for your time and attention. And we'll be back to something Tai Chi. I have no idea what it will be. in about 3 or 4 weeks. I should do this. Ta.